adventurers. Today we're going to be doing the
Midyear Book Freakout Tag. The mid of the year has now passed, so we probably should have done this a little bit earlier, but this is the first chance we get to it. So yeah, let's jump right in. I guess I'm Tony, that's Kate. Since we forget to do that in almost every video, introduce ourselves. So there are 12 questions. I've seen some with 14, and I'm not sure where they get the extra 2, but we'll go with these 12 for now. The first question is, best book you've read so far in 2021?
That's a hard choice for me. It's probably a mix of, because I read 3 books that I particularly love, and that's Dust by Kara Swanson, Operation Grendel by Daniel Schwalbauer, and Fahrenheit 451 by Ray Bradbury. I'm going to say Fahrenheit 451 because I feel like that's going to fall in later years. It's going to fall more into classics, and that's going to be one of the ones that I've found that I've loved the most. So we'll go with that one, I guess.
This probably won't be a surprise to too many of you, but my choice for this is probably going to be The Count of Monte Cristo by Alexandre Dumas. Yeah, we've talked about this and we'll be talking about it more yet, I suspect, so I'll leave it at that. New release you haven't read yet but want to.
I think for me that would be Abort by C.D. Holland. I actually have the book. I'm super excited about it. I read the first couple chapters before I actually had the book. I had a early viewing copy. I'm not sure how to word that. But I got to read some of it before it was released. So I'm really excited to finish that when I get to it. That's a new release.
So I don't really keep up with new releases that much, which is kind of an issue when questions like this come up. So the one that I immediately think of off the top of my head, because I don't think I own any that are new releases, would be Shadow of the Gods by John Gwynne. Mostly because this cover has a giant dragon on the front looking at a little tiny dude. So that's all I really know about the book, but I've heard great things about John Gwynne, and so I'm interested to see what this book is about. I don't own it yet, like I mentioned, but I'd like to read it. Most anticipated release for the second half of the year.
So this would be Shadow by Kara Swanson. It's the book 2 in the Heirs to Neverland. Yeah, that's what it's called. So book 2 of Dust, essentially. And I'm really excited about this. It actually comes out I'm not sure when it was released. I pre-ordered it and I should get my copy on July 22nd. So I don't know actually when it was actually released, but that's when I'm supposed to get my copy, so it's then.
Again, like I mentioned, I don't keep up with new releases enough, but I believe that the 4th book in the Mistborn Era 2 series by Brandon Sanderson is coming out sometime towards the end of this year, and so that would probably be it. Mistborn is probably my favorite series of his that I have read, specifically Era 1. Era 2 I really enjoy, but it's not as good as Era 1. But I am very much looking forward to book 4 in this series because I think it'll answer a lot of questions and wrap up a lot of storylines and plot threads that they've been dealing with throughout the rest of this era. So I think that's probably it. If there's another one, I'm not thinking of it off the top of my head. So yeah, I think we'll go with that one. Biggest disappointment?
This would be, I almost answered The Count of Monte Cristo, but it's more complicated than that for The Count of Monte Cristo. So I'm going to go with the biggest actual thing that I was just flat out disappointed by, which was The Knife of Never Letting Go, the first book in the Chaos Walking series. And the reason that's such a big disappointment is because it's written by Patrick Ness, who wrote A Monster Calls, which is one of my all-time favorite books, and I am very unimpressed with The Knife of Never Letting Go.
So I've actually had a pretty good reading year in terms of what books I read, and so there's not many that I didn't really like, so I guess the biggest disappointment would probably be A Time to Die by Nadine Brandes. This is specifically because the premise was so interesting and I really wanted it to be great, and then I read it and it really was just not gripping me. It was not of interest to me until about the last quarter, and if it takes that long to get into a book, that's not really ever good. It was disappointing to me, but I don't think it would be disappointing to a lot of other people. I wasn't interested in what was happening. Biggest surprise?
Carrie by Stephen King. I read Carrie. It is Carrie, right? Yeah, it's Carrie.
I think so.
And I was surprised on how much I enjoyed that book and the layers of the story. I think it's class genrefied. Yeah. Genrefied as horror, technically, I believe. And for the layers it had and the themes and everything, I really liked Carrie. That was cool.
So I think my answer to this question is going to be The Black Prism by Brent Weeks, I believe. This is book 1 of the Lightbringer series. So Kate had read did you even finish the first book in series? So Kate started and ended up DNFing the
first book in the Night Angel.
Yeah, the Night Angel trilogy. And so I was kind of thinking, well, maybe this book won't be for me, maybe I won't enjoy it very much. Turns out it's quite the opposite. It was very, very good. The magic system was interesting, the characters were well written, it was just good fantasy. And I was, because of the experience Kate had with Brent Weeks' other book, I wasn't expecting to have a great experience with Lightbringer, but when I did, it was kind of a surprise, and I'm very happy it was. There's other books that I could probably include right here, but that's the first one that really stood out to me when I was looking through my list. Favorite new author. This can be debut or new to you.
I'm going to answer both debut and new to me. So debut author would be Azaria M.J. Durant with Broken Arrow. I believe that was her debut novel, and I really love that. I'm excited. I want to read the second book in the series. And then new to me would probably be Ruta Sepetys, and this has been slowly coming, but it took me a while to get enough of her books to actually determine whether or not I like the author or just that one book. Kind of like the Patrick Ness thing, you can't always rely on the author, unfortunately. So, yeah, those are the 2 authors for me.
The one that's instantly coming to my mind is Alexandre Dumas. I believe this is the first time I've read an unabridged book by Dumas. I think I've read an abridged Three Musketeers in the past. But the Count of Monte Cristo absolutely blew me away. It was very, very good. And I think that Alexandre Dumas will probably end up being one of my favorite authors. So yeah, I'm very impressed with that. Newest fictional crush.
What have I read that doesn't have minors in it? We can go with Green Lantern from Justice League. How about that?
Good enough.
JLA. I think it's Hal Jordan, Justice League.
Hal Jordan.
Blonde. Actually, no, it's not. It's brown hair.
Is it Kyle?
That one.
It's probably Hal. I think it's Hal.
I thought Hal was blonde, though.
No, I don't think Hal's blonde.
Oh wait, this is gonna say the name. I don't know. I'll have to look it up later. I could look it up now.
I think it's Hal. I'm pretty sure it's Hal. I'm pretty sure that's what Hal looks like, because it's not Kyle. I'm pretty sure Kyle has black hair, and it's not Guy Gardner, and it's not Jon Stewart. And there's a couple other of them, but those are the main ones.
Yeah. Hal Jordan. Oh, yeah, Hal Jordan has a fictional crush, but I was really impressed with the Flash in this book, because he's often seen as that one, like, lighthearted, funny guy, the man-child. And he had this one scene where he took Firestorm aside and gave him, like, this really, like, fatherly advice talk. It was really sweet. Anyhow, but I don't have a crush on him. I don't have a crush on any of these guys, but you asked, so I gave you an answer. You happy? What about you?
I actually don't think about characters that way. So.
Well, I don't either, but I made up an answer.
Well, I don't know. I don't know that I can come up with an answer, because I don't know.
Just find a female who's not a minor that you like.
I know. It's the hard part. What was a character
You're
specifically?
reading Brandon
that I liked?
Sanderson.
Did it? Yeah, I guess I read one. Well, sure, Shallan, but she's not like an. No, that doesn't work, because Shallan I first read about last year, so that doesn't work. Who else? I wasn't going to answer because I didn't have an answer for this.
I'm gonna wrap this up then. So Tony thinks that he can't come up with a crush, which I think is dumb, because I don't think about fictional characters that way either, but I came up with an answer for you. So he's just being the party pooper here, and we're moving on to question 8.
Here's the thing. Here's the last 3 books that I read. there was Sir Gawain and the Green Knight. There's nobody in there. There's one lady, but she's married. No, Guinevere's technically in there also, but she's married as well. So, none of them were the type of character that I would have a crush on. So, nobody in Sir Gawain and the Green Knight. Then there was the Magician's Nephew, which Polly's minor, so I can't have a fictional crush on her.
Yeah.
And then the other one
Condomini Cristo.
was...
How about Mercedes?
She
Okay.
annoyed me.
Yeah, well, she...
Although Aide or Heidi, maybe.
There you go.
That
there
one
you go.
works. We can go with that. However you pronounce the Greek princess.
Heidi is how it's spelled, but we listened to it in audiobook and they said Aide every time.
Yeah. So that's, sure, we'll go with that character because
okay, good.
Better than the rest of them. Newest favorite character.
So, newest favorite character would probably either be Claire from Dust or Ben from Dust.
I think that I am going to go with Ood from the Wingfeather Saga. I'm going to leave it at that because I don't want to give spoilers. It would either be Janner or Ood from the Wingfeather Saga. So that's what I'll go with for that. Book that made you cry.
I've been watching movies lately and reading my own book. So that's the problem here. Chaos Walking did not make me cry, believe it or not. I may have teared up in Something Wicked This Way Comes. There's a couple really, really sweet scenes between one of the main boys and his mom. So maybe. I don't feel like I actually cried, but I can't think of any other book right now, even though it's not really hard to make me cry, so don't know.
So
I didn't mean for it to come out like that.
I am kind of the opposite in that I don't really cry in books. So if I did cry, it was because I was laying on my side and water was leaking from my face, not because I was actually crying. So I don't actually have an answer for this one. Book that made you happy.
Going on most recent reads, it was definitely, sorry for going out of frame, JLA. It made me happy. And also the one I'm currently reading, which is Watchmen with DC, the Doomsday Clock, Watchmen meets the DC Universe. This one I'm really liking. It just makes me happy to read because I love how it's written. I mean, minus the things I talked about in the previous videos, so just go watch that video if you want to figure out what's going on.
Let's see, book that made me happy. Well, actually, I will go with this again, Sir Gawain and the Green Knight. As you probably know, Tolkien is my favorite author, and although he didn't technically write Sir Gawain and the Green Knight, he did translate it, and you can see the influences of his writing on that translation, and that just, I don't know, anytime I read anything by Tolkien, it makes me happy. So, Sir Gawain and the Green Knight, translated by Tolkien, made me super happy. Pretty much any of the books that I read this year would work. Not all of them, but pretty much any of them. So, we'll go with Sir Gawain and the Green Knight. Plus, it's Arthurian, and that's just amazing. Most beautiful book you've bought so far this year or received?
I'm going to show you. This might not technically be it, but it's really, really pretty. This is The Prisoner of Zenda, Rupert of Hinsau by Anthony Hope. I have read both of these, I believe. I think I've read them both. And this is just a really pretty copy. I have a paperback, and the paperback's really disappointing looking. Also, the font is awful in that book, so if I ever want to reread these, I'll read it in this one. But look how boring this is. Like, come on, it could be a lot better. It does have like 4 books in it. This only has 2, and it's fatter. But that means the font doesn't hurt your eyes, and look how pretty, brown and then gold and blue, lovely colors.
I'm gonna have to run and grab mine, so I will be right back.
That's too many.
So,
you can't have more.
My choices are these beautiful Jack London editions. There's not a whole lot to say about them other than that they're very beautiful with a nice wolf howling on the front with gold gold lettering and blue leather bound and everything. Come in a nice box set. But the other one would be A Natural History of Dragons, a memoir by Lady Trent. This is written by Marie Brennan, but it's got a beautiful dragon on the cover, like anatomical breakdown of the dragon, and that's really cool. It's just very pretty cover. I don't know why I like it so much, probably because it's a dragon. But those are my answers for that question. What books do you need to read by the end of the year?
Probably Aragon, just because it's been in my bookshelf for too long, and I do think I'll probably like it just by its reputation once I read it. I just haven't gotten to it yet.
The ones that I can specifically think of off the top of my head, I've got a lot of them, but the ones that are right currently in my brain is Redwall by Brian Jakes. I need to reread that. I need to reread The Hobbit again. This will be towards the end of the year. And then I would like to get started on the Wheel of Time series and at least read The Eye of the World by the end of the year. There's a couple other ones for sure, but those are the three that I, right off the top of my head, would really like to read by the end of the year. So that is the Midyear Book Freakout Tag. You don't ever, I guess, really tag people in this because people just do it, so we won't tag anybody. But that was, I don't know, it was kind of fun to come up with answers on the fly like we did today, and yeah, it was good to get it done. Thank you guys for watching an Erudite adventure. We post videos every Monday and Thursday. Our social medias are linked in the description down below. We will see you guys again soon. Stay well.
I'm not blowing a bubble from that.